Hey Nate, how you doing?
Well, how are you?
I'm doing good. You have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was a good weekend. I I went to the Drake for the first time, um, and I saw Bill Frisell
Hmm.
trio there, jazz guitarist, and it
Yep.
was it was fabulous. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think the next week we're trying to go. I forget what show it is, but we've been wanting to go for a while. So it's good that Amherst finally has a music venue. It's ridiculous it never has.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and they're creating some great acts. So
Yeah, it's true. And so how are you feeling about school committee?
school committee, I don't know. I think one of the four candidates didn't submit a statement.
Yeah,
So they may be sort of, laying back a little bit. Um, but
you could
yeah,
be a
I don't
school
know.
committee widower.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot of work. Um,
Yeah.
but
When I was on it, we had very long meetings
is that right?
and multiple committees. That's the thing, like if you're in the Shutesbury committee, there's three people who are representatives on Union 28 committee. And then
Yes.
one person who's the regional person, and then there's like other stuff. So there's lots of opportunities to go to meetings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, I'm excited CCA got on.
Me too. Uh, um, I think, yeah, it's great. Um, there's a potential to lose a lot of time, I think. I don't know when the next opportunity to have a vote would be. So, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and I can tell you, I got an email from Donna earlier today, but I can tell you, I think Gail's coming. Um, we might not have a quorum, in which case we just talk and we don't do any business. So, but
okay,
which being that we don't have to vote, that's convenient.
yeah,
So I'll give her, I know she said she could do it, so.
okay,
Um, and I'm not quite sure about Miriam. I'm guessing, well, Graham probably won't come because he's not going to town meeting. And Zoe, I'm not sure, so we shall see. Give him a couple more minutes. So what's your shirt?
Oh, this says liberation for all.
It's cows and cats,
Yeah, and
horses.
a chicken, a sheep, and a dog,
Hmm.
as well.
Huh,
So yeah,
where's that from?
I just was searching for this kind of animal rights themed um, t-shirts, and yeah, I found this one, really liked it. Yeah, I'm a big kind of animal welfare person, so um, yeah,
Sounds
it's
good.
it's a nice sentiment.
That's cool. So you
Yeah.
just found it online?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. Must have been an Amazon find. Yeah, I in when I lived in DC, there's a one big annual vegetarian food festival, DC Veg Fest. But up here, there's a bunch of them. There's uh, there's a 413 festival that was in Springfield.
Hmm.
New England Veg Fest was in Worcester, um, the last week or 2 weeks ago. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of opportunities to kind of hang out with like-minded people, which is really, it's been great.
Well, I'll tell you, one thing my wife and I have talked about a lot is it's because like when we went to college at Cornell, so we were in Ithaca. When we were there was Moosewood, but there was also another great vegetarian restaurant that I worked at for a while. And it was sort of like standard, I mean, granted, it was like the 70s and 80s, but
Yeah.
when we moved to Boston, in Cambridge, there wasn't a vegetarian restaurant, which was shocking. And there's, except for Paul and Elizabeth's, which is not quite, there's nothing here. It's like, there's pizza and there's Chinese. You figure a really good vegetarian restaurant would sort of like have booming business. It's surprising.
Yeah.
So when you stop your mapping job,
Yeah, we'll open up a little cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like a Wild Chestnut Cafe.
Where's that?
It's in Florence.
Where?
So, gosh, I don't know the area well enough to give you directions. Unfortunately, but it's kind of seems like a main drag
Okay.
through Florence.
But-
And yeah, we're down there about once a week because my oldest son does archery at Look Park.
Huh.
So yeah, it's nice to just swing by there. Yeah, that's totally plant-based. Yeah, that's a good one though.
I'll have to remember that. Huh. It's
Yeah.
probably on or off Route 9. Well, why don't we just start our non-business? So I won't call this order, and we could probably knock this out quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Since you and I are the main show. So I did talk to Donna. Well, I got an email from Donna today. She said she tried, I'll read you her email.
I was super.
So she said, she spoke with Mark Rubinski, who's, the Green Communities guy, and about the whole applicability. And, he had nothing significant to say, but we've already talked to him. And she has a call to a consultant who does municipal aggregation for a living,
Okay.
to see what he thinks, and hasn't heard back. She talked to Jonathan Goldberg, who's the general counsel for DPU again, or tried calling him again. So I guess she's been playing her tag with DPU, and she was going to email him. But and then she ended up talking to I think the guy you talked to at Colonial rather.
That's right.
And he basically said, because the issue is on the warrant, should we just go for it, or is there some determination? And I think where Donna and I landed was we should just have the town vote. And this way we're on record. And if, we're able to do it, we'll go forward because it will be on record. And if someone says, no, you can't, it doesn't hurt anything. We're not committed to anything at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, even the language of the warrant article is geared to, enable the select board to investigate. So it's not, I don't even think it creates an issue with setting certain expectations necessarily, about the success of the effort. So, it takes time to hold a vote like this, and I'm sure there'll be questions to field, but yeah, it seems like worth doing even with this uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I have been to one town meeting before, and it was, the library vote. So I don't know. I expect that wasn't particularly representative in terms of like the turnout. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. We usually get like between 250 and 300 for a town meeting. So that was, it's very good participation for a small town, that's for sure. And I think the fact that it's the third article, there'll still be some people coming in, but we'll have attention and people will be fresh, which cuts both ways. So my anticipation is we'll probably start, because the regional agreement is before that. That could either be automatic. I think there's no controversy because there's not a lot of cost associated with this time around. Sometimes it's controversial. So I figure we'll start maybe like 9:20 or so, depending on how it goes. And it's either going to be no brainer, in which case there's, it only needs a majority vote anyway. Or people will just have questions because people want to have questions, which is fine, I think.
Yeah.
And I have to just check with Gail to make sure that we have actual hard copies of the handout there. But what I was thinking is I can introduce it broadly speaking, and then turn it over to you, and you can sort of, you'll be sans PowerPoint, unfortunately, so, out of your comfort zone. But, but a 5, maybe 10-minute presentation, I think, I'm sure Rita's gonna say, we have 33 articles on the warrant, so don't take too much time. And if it's not controversial, we don't have to extend it. I mean, I think it's a matter of reading the room. And, but I mean, at this point, you've discussed it enough, and we'll have the handout, and between the two of us, we should be able to answer the questions, because I don't see anyone, as Graham said, there's no one who should be against this, because if you understand it correctly, we're not committing to anything.
Yeah. So just logistics wise,
Yeah.
the moderator will introduce the article and read it aloud. And like how
does that work? So
that work?
It may be Paul Lyons, who's the moderator, who says now Article 3. Do I have a motion? And then one of the 3 select board members will read the motion, so they'll read the article.
Great.
And then he'll say, do you have a second? And another select board member will second it. And then they'll say, do we have a presentation from the Energy and Climate Action Committee? And you and I will already be up at the microphone. And so I think I'll take like 2 minutes to say, we're bringing this forth. Generally speaking, this is about creating more options for electrical consumption, aggregating as a town so that we can buy together. There's a few options, and then I'll just turn it over to you. And I think you're the substance person. I can be sort of the political setter-upper, because there'll be some people who have read it and most people who have not. So it's just a matter of saying, for me at least, all we're committing to is exploration. What we want to do is save people money. We want to save money, get people who are interested in producing more green energy, the ability to get more green energy, and use our buying power as a town. And there's like 200 municipalities plus across the Commonwealth who are already doing this. So this is no risky cutting edge kind of thing. We're actually behind the pack. And then I think just turn it over to you, and then what'll end up happening, if you talk for 5 minutes or 7 minutes or something, most likely there's going to be 2 microphones. So someone will show up at the other microphone if they have a question. And then Paul will say, are there any questions? They're supposed to direct the questions to Paul, but they might just turn to you and me and ask the question. But I don't anticipate angry questions. I think, there's a couple of people who want to probe for information just because that's sort of their personality.
Yeah.
And they might be 100% behind it, but they want to do it anyway. So it's just helpful. And I think it's setting the stage for the next, assuming it passes and we go forward, we'll already have had a vote. So answering the questions is not bad. We could say, as we explained 2 years ago. So, do you have a question? Any questions about like what you should stress or not stress, or are you fine with it?
Yeah, I'll definitely put some thought into kind of what the outline should be. I'd prefer not to be too long-winded about it, and I think one of the you've alluded to this already. Other towns have done this, and I've had a good experience with aggregation. People like the options in cases where the majority of cases towns have been able to save money with aggregation. So yeah, I mean, I think Graham's counsel would be keep it simple, stupid, and just mention those two main points, that it's increases choice, it's not taking away choice.
Yeah.
Other towns have had a good experience. there's an opportunity to save money and also increase, green
Yeah.
generation.
Those are the two constituencies you're talking to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would agree with Graham. I mean, you want to give some basic understanding, but not create so much room that all of a sudden there's room for targets. Like you said, what?
Yeah.
And if you sit down and it passes, then we're successful.
Yeah. It's that would be a huge win for the committee. So
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think I haven't heard of anyone who would be against it. So if you're good with that, and thank you for doing it, I'll make sure there's the handouts. And I think I'll just say at the beginning, if anyone has any questions or handouts, and I guess up front, since we're outside.
yeah,
Cool.
sounds good.
That's easy enough.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is not complex. It's pretty nice. And I was shocked to see it was early. I think the only thing that might come up as I think about it is just doing the pre-work with Donna. Since Donna and I are on the same page that we should proceed with the vote, I think that was the question, if we don't have, because a couple of weeks ago it would have been, if we don't have a definitive answer, should we pull it or keep it on? And I think at this point, I might just email Rita to let her know that what Donna and I agreed to. So they both know. So
Great.
Cool. This is
Yeah.
a good non-meeting. I was going to volunteer to take minutes and I don't have to.
Yeah.
It's good.
That is good.
Okie dokie. You want to go have the rest of your evening?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll put together some bullets for myself, but it seems like pretty straightforward.
Yeah, if you have any
Sorry,
questions,
so-
just shoot me an email or something.
Yeah.
And, but I wouldn't sweat it. I think this is, I mean, you've done it several times at this point, and it should all go smoothly. If it doesn't, I'd be surprised.
Fair.
So, okie dokie.
Hey, great.
I'll see you on Saturday.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll try to get there plenty early. Yeah.
Great. Sounds cool. I'll be there early too.
Great.
Okay. Have a good one.
You too.